Welcome to Private Club Radio, your weekly source for industry education, news and discussion. Broadcasting from Tampa, Florida, ladies and gentlemen, here is your host, Gabriel Aloisi.
Hey friends, welcome to Private Club Radio, Friday, March 13th, Friday the 13th. I am doing another coronavirus COVID-19 update for you because I just feel like it's my duty as a broadcaster to get you the most recent relevant information and just let you guys know what's going through my thought process as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as someone leading a team of people myself, because you are in that place in your own club. So I've made the executive decision here at the Private Club Agency to get things prepared. And next week, we're going to be working from home. My team's going to be working from home. Luckily, I have the type of business that we can do that. To some degree, we are mobile. I've got our shared hard drive in place, and people will be able to access those files from their homes. But for me, out of an abundance of caution, I am going to, at the end of this afternoon, let folks know that they won't be working here next week, in the office at least. And that's because we're in another bigger office building. I can't control who's walking in and out of these buildings. And if we look at what happened in Italy, it did not take more than a few days to go from 100 cases to 1,000 cases to then 10,000 cases, which completely overwhelmed the healthcare system in Italy. And that's why they took the drastic measures that you're hearing about. And while I hope it does not get to that point in this country, I think it's wise for me to do my part to make sure that my folks aren't exposed to large amounts of people here in the office building. Now, what are private clubs doing? That's the key, right? I have been in contact with some managers who are considering at least closing some of the amenities at their club. One manager in particular was considering at least the possibility of closing their doors, at least temporarily. And of course, I want to say temporarily, certainly not forever. And we don't want to see any clubs take a huge financial hit from this so much that they'll have to shut down forever. That would be the last thing we want to see happen, which is why I'm doing this podcast, because I want to keep all of our clubs safe. I want to keep our members and staff up to date and safe and secure wherever you are in the country or around the world. So, to that end, I've got Alan Achatz of Club Safety Solutions to come on and talk to me about what some of the clubs in the Carolinas are doing. And as a safety expert, he's got some other advice to share with us. So things that you need to be prepared for at your club, things that you should be doing and enacting immediately to make sure that your members and staff are safe, which is the ultimate goal of what we're trying to do here, updating you on Private Club Radio of this situation. And I do want you to know that my phone will be at your service over the next week. If you've got news to share with other industry leaders about things that you've been doing at your club to ensure safety, I would want to let everyone know what's going on. So please do not hesitate to text, WhatsApp, call me. My number is 813-482-5392. That is my personal cell phone. And you can get a hold of me and let me know what's going on at your club and what precautions you are taking and advice that you have for the industry, because we want to keep everyone updated. I want this to be a hub of information for people. Don't forget two incredible resources that we talked about yesterday on this show, the National Club Association's website, which they are constantly giving coronavirus information and news, which is nationalclub.org/coronavirus, as well as Justin Bear of Member Texts. He gave an offer to all of our listeners that if your club would like to use his platform, his member text platform, which will immediately notify your members and staff of the ongoing situations at your club, he is giving that 100% free to clubs for a minimum of 2 months, he said. Make sure you get in touch with Justin. It's membertext.net. That's how you get a hold of him. And make sure that you keep your members and staff notified of all of the updates. Without further ado, this is my chat with Alan. And while you'll hear that we might have some differing opinions in terms of what we think the severity of this virus might be at this moment, our chat's going to give you a number of tips that you can take back to your club immediately and start making some changes to the way you're doing your business, as well as just maybe starting to have some conversations at your club with the board, with the staff, with the members on how you're going to address this for your own self. In the end, you've got to make the decision for your own club. We just want to give you as much information to make the best decision that you can. So here's my chat with Alan. Enjoy. Alan, how are you today, sir?
Oh, Gabe, I'm excellent. Crazy times are going on around us.
I don't know if you heard, they just literally made the announcement that the Masters has been canceled.
I did not.
They just made that announcement. They just made the announcement that last night that the PGA Tour through the Masters was going to be canceled. Now the Masters is actually canceled, so there will be no more golf here for at least a month, which is pretty saddening news. Let's talk about what clubs need to be doing right now, in your opinion.
The members need to know what's happening. So with that said, what the Carolinas chapter did, shared about 5 or 6 different letters to the members from various managers or, boards, we'll say it that way, talking about procedures. And in these various sample letters, they address that the clubs are doing sanitizing, taking care of everything from the doorknobs and push plates that are coming in the club, all the way to wiping down all the hard surfaces, sanitizing computers. A lot of them are doing away with buffets, which is, if we think about it, and we could talk about the soup ladle, we could talk about all the tongs and everything. Not, we think of sneeze guards covering buffets, but there's a lot more when you think about the plate of cookies that's there, or someone, just grabbing something as they walk by quickly or handling the utensils. So that's another biggie. So I sigh on that one. Another item, and here's something, they're ramping up for takeout service because they don't want, if someone's ill, and they're saying, in these letters, we're encouraging our staff in some instances to wash their hands every 15 minutes, which, I applaud that. But here they don't want members to come in if the members are ill, so now they're encouraging takeout service, which I applaud that. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, I even saw some people talking about the valets wiping down steering wheels and stick shifts and things like that. But how close are we to the point of we just need to say we need to shut our doors maybe for a week and just assess things? Like, do you think that that's around the corner, Alan, in your opinion?
I think it's overblown, personally. Is it, as a friend of mine said to me, yesterday, this is so Orwellian. Things are not that bad. If you look at some of the statistics, yes, coronavirus it has a 3% death rate, but how many people are infected? They talk about the regular virus season kills more than this. Well, but if we use common sense, I think that's the first way to do it. How are we? Are we fist bumping, or are we elbow bumping, or as someone jokingly says, we'll kick. Do the ankle bump, okay?
Right.
So are we wiping things down? Are we making sure that our servers, when they pick up glasses out of the table, aren't putting their fingers in the glasses? Are they cleaning and sanitizing the bottom of their service trays, whether it's a cocktail tray or a food tray? So, that's part of it. I take a look at what about, one item, if you're asking about one item to shut down, I would shut down your steam rooms. Okay, that's just that's a germ breeding area. Are the saunas? If you're using water in the sauna, is that potentially putting, something there? So, it's a big sigh that I share all this because this is beyond norovirus or everything else, because we know of the how it's impacting people.
Right.
But what about single-use cups, single-use utensils? There's even something I saw single-use menus, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's just served from the service, they're just printing it out and handing it to people.
Yeah.
And then eliminating some self-service stations like, the hot dogs and the trail mix that's in the locker rooms.
What about
So
screening your own employees? Because if I'm to walk into, let's say that we move away from the cookies that people can pick up, but how about the person baking the cookies? So what do you recommend for people monitoring their own employees and the health of their own employees, Alan?
Well, tell them right up front. And this was another conversation I had yesterday with another club manager. What you need to do is tell your employees, if you're ill or feeling ill, please don't come into the operation. Where we are in life is if we don't, the opposite of absenteeism is presenteeism, where someone's bringing the illness in. We just have to tell them, stay home.
Right.
Now, what's the cost of telling them to stay home? A club manager I spoke to yesterday, they're developing a plan to pay employees for not coming in if the employees are ill. Now, can someone abuse that? Well, the answer is yes. But would you rather have an employee stay home and give them money not to come in rather than have them come in with an illness?
Yeah. I think that's definitely what clubs need to start at least considering is making it very easy and relaxing some of those rules and policies. Because for me, and I'll tell you, in my own office, we're going to close down next week. We're not going to completely shut our doors, but people are going to be working from home. And the reason is, my guys have kids. There's other factors outside they themselves. And I just rather, out of an abundance of caution, make sure that my guys are safe. And the world will keep turning here in a week or two. Do you think that clubs might be taking a similar perspective, or do you think it's really important that clubs keep their doors open for the sake of the community? What's your opinion on that, Alan?
Well, there's both sides of it. It's, as you're saying, it's err on the side of caution. I agree with that. However, we can't remote in on the golf course. Okay, if someone wants to play golf, and the club has it, can we sanitize the steering wheel, the cup holder? Again, go with single-use cups. There's a lot of money that's about to be lost, and I'm talking. It's worldwide. It's nationwide. You're talking all the sporting events that are canceled. What about all the meals that go with this? And there was another conversation we had today. So clubs are in the service business. Okay, we don't want to give bad service. We don't want to get people ill. But it's both sides for the staff and the members. If someone's ill, please don't come into the operation. Being in the hospitality business, we want to serve. We want to please people. We want to share great food. But we also have to know if someone's ill, we don't want them in the operation. And that's both from members and guests,
right.
And employees. Yeah. And then what do you do nowadays with a person having the sniffles, okay?
Sure.
Is it hay fever season just about to start for me?
Yeah.
Is that person
They're
ill
be
or
ostracized?
Just hay fever?
Those people are going to be ostracized. This can be very difficult. And I think what really compounds it with this one more so than any is you might not have any symptoms at all, and that could go on for weeks. That's why for me it's just I'm deciding for my own business it's just not worth taking that risk. And I'm gonna have folks work from home, and I get that, at clubs it might not be that easy for sure, but I think some facilities, what about clubs maybe just potentially closing the dining facilities? Would you see that as potentially an option, or do you still think that might be too drastic right now?
I think it's a little overkill personally, and it's a bad pun. It wasn't even meant to be a pun, but right now, I think if we approach it that we're being, looking at things safely, looking around with awareness, what can we do in order to provide great service without shutting down the operation? When it gets to the point, we see people wearing masks. Well, they finally have said, you only need a mask if you are ill, because you're not protecting anyone. The only way to protect yourself is not to touch your face, not to cough, everything else. But if people are coming into your operation wearing masks, how good is a mask when they take it off to eat?
Yeah, right.
So other things that can be done, can you go with all, paper napkins? Can you roll, plastic forks, all this? Sometimes, well, if you're in a white tablecloth operation, well, can all the silver be rolled up? Okay, so that way, and the reason I say that, instead of placing the silver on the table, I mean, if one person walks into the dining room and sneezes, that's the term is spitum. If that spray goes everywhere, now you have everything that's infected. So would you be better off rolling up all your forks and knives, putting in a cloth napkin so you have it that way? Do you want servers to wear gloves? Sure, we talk about white glove service. Well, maybe this is time for vinyl glove service. I don't know. But as long as they're, using this and doing, if they use these single-use gloves to wrap the silver, everything else, now the staff is protecting the members. So there's a lot of considerations that club managers have to go through, and you have to think that through for every department.
Right. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Any final tips that you would give managers out there who are listening to this show, Alan?
Just for everyone, wash your hands more. Don't touch your face, okay? Just be cognizant. It's the only way. Look around in awareness. I mean, those are all the tough things to say, but that's how I look at it. Instead of pulling a door, with your hands, see if you can use the end of your shirt, okay? Push your doors open with an elbow. I mean, those are all the things that I try and do when I'm going elsewhere.
Right. Yep. Well said there for sure, Alan. Well, appreciate you coming on and lending us your opinion here as a expert in club safety, and wish you well and hope everyone in the Carolinas gets through this one okay.
Well, and across the country. So thank you very much, Gabe. And, I appreciate what you're doing for the industry as well.
Absolutely. Thanks, Alan. Some great advice there from Alan, some things to think about. Each club's going to have to make that own decision for themselves, as we talked about. So let me know what you're doing. Don't forget, shoot me a text or a message, and let me know what you're doing at your club. Keep staying tuned to this channel as we update you. Maybe not daily, but I'll try to do it as often as needed. And just be safe. I'll see you later.